Hey guys, my name's Kim and welcome to my kitchen. I just want to introduce myself and let you know what exactly this channel is going to be like. A little bit about myself. I was born in Utah, but I grew up in Nevada. I come from a very big family, and so we are very close. After I graduated high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I jumped around from a couple different colleges, and when I was at one of them in Utah, I met my future husband. We ended up only dating in person for 6 months before he went back home to go to school, and I also went back home to go to school. I ended up going to a community college where I decided I was going to be a chef. The culinary classes were set up in 4-hour blocks, and so you really got an idea of what it was going to be like. My first class was an introduction to cooking class. I learned all sorts of things. One of my final exams in my cooking class was to make your favorite dish. So I made a dish that my mom had always made us growing up. And I followed the recipe to the T, and it was amazing. Up until the chef said, "Okay, so what's your secret ingredient?" And I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, I have all the ingredients written down right here. And he was like, "But what's the thing you add to give it just that special touch?" And I was like, nothing. So that chef told me I needed to switch over to pastry arts and become a baker. Because in my mind, if it is not written down on the recipe, then it doesn't belong. And so after that day, I started training in pastry arts. Pastry arts was difficult. I did all sorts of classes, pastry design, basic pastry, baking, breads, cake decorating, chocolate sculptures, sugar sculptures, everything you can think of. And before my senior year, before graduating with my associate's degree in pastry arts, I ended up getting a job at a brand new casino that was opening up in Vegas called the M Resort. I worked as a pastry chef in the buffet, but I only got to work there for a very limited amount of time because my husband proposed to me. We were dating for 2 years long distance. He joined the military and was doing training, and that's when I was going to culinary school. So after we got married in Vegas, and the very next day we drove across the country to Florida, where he was going to school and doing military. It was very difficult to move across the country away from all my family, but I got married and it was time to follow my husband to his home. So I lived in Tampa, Florida for a little over 2 years. We both got our bachelor's degree. I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in public health, and he's an electrical engineer. As soon as he graduated, I was thinking, yay, we're finally going back out west. I'm gonna live close to my family. But that's not how it worked out. He ended up getting a job in Fort Lauderdale, and we moved down there. At the time, I was pregnant with my son, Quentin, who is now 10, and we had him in South Florida. We lived in South Florida for 2 years, and I was just done. I wasn't enjoying it. I was lonely, and I wanted to be back by my family. So I ended up finding all these job offers for my husband, and I sent out his resumes. He ended up getting an interview and got a job in Wyoming. So we moved in February from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, all the way to Wyoming in the dead of winter. Now, me growing up in Vegas and him growing up in Florida, we were not made for the cold. We did not know how to adjust to the cold. We ended up living in Wyoming for close to 4 years or somewhere around there. And we ended up really loving Wyoming. We loved the small town. We loved the slowness of it all, but we didn't enjoy the cold. We had our daughter Scarlett, who's almost 8, and we met some pretty good friends there. But we ended up moving down to Utah for a job promotion and lived under 10 minutes from all of my siblings, which was the best. My kids got to grow up around their cousins and form crucial relationships with everyone in my family. We lived in Utah for pretty close to 5 years, but my husband was tired of the snow. He wanted to go back to where he lived in Florida, and he ended up getting a job last summer in Orlando. So last summer, we packed up everything and moved across the country to here in Orlando, Florida. There were a lot of changes with the move, not just moving across the country, but also I started working full time, and my kids' school life changed tremendously. And with those changes, we kind of just got lost in it all. It all felt overwhelming. It felt like we didn't have time. We've enjoyed going to Universal and going to the beach and going kayaking, but there's just been something missing. I felt like I don't have time for any of my passions. I haven't baked in who knows how long, just because I'm exhausted. I'm mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted. My kids were really struggling at school, and I came to the conclusion that I needed to homeschool them. So at the end of this school year, I'm quitting my job at the school. I'm pulling my kids out of school, and we are gonna start the homeschooling journey. With this channel, I'm hoping we can document our lives. I'm hoping it will force me to do more of my passion, to bake more, to be creative again. I also want to share with others my creations. I've made a bunch of wedding cakes for cousins and siblings and grandma. I've made interesting cupcakes just because I dreamt about them one night and I decided to create them, and I just hand them out to people. I technically have been homeschooling my kids since they were in preschool. I've always made them do stuff during the summer. I've always, if they didn't really come home with homework, we always did a little bit of stuff. So I feel like I have an okay grasp on what I'm gonna do, but I really don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm hoping to bring you along this journey with me, to figure out this homeschooling thing, to figure out this new life of not having a set schedule, this new life of teaching my kids different baking techniques, teaching them how to fry an egg on the stove, teaching them how to decorate a cupcake, and teaching them the school subjects they need to learn, but at our own pace. Being able to explore nature around us. We've got the ocean right there. We've got Kennedy Space Center, where literally from my backyard I can watch rockets shoot off up into the sky. I want to enjoy Florida with my kids, and we want to create a life here that we will all remember and be grateful for. So if you want to join me on this journey of baking and homeschooling, and my dream is to have 5 acres of land and build my dream house and have chickens and mini cows, even though my husband tells me no, and just dirt bike track for my son and my daughter chasing the butterflies outside. If you want to join me in this journey of just slowing down, doing the little things that we've been putting off that just will make us happy, then maybe subscribe and click on another video of mine. I've got lots of ideas. I've got lots of things I'm thinking of doing, and I'm excited to share them with whoever wants to experience them with me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.